Today I'm going to make a quick soup using just a simple ham slice. It'll cook very quickly. It won't take long for things to break down. I'm always amazed at how just a simple ham steak can add so much flavor to a small pot of soup. My pan is preheated. I have finely diced up some of that beautiful fat that was around the edge of the ham steak, and I'm going to put that in. I'm going to let that go ahead and sear a little bit, and the fat will render, and that'll be the perfect base for sauteing my vegetables. I start by dicing my ham. The renderings from the fat are going to be much more flavorful than if you added seed oil, which I try to avoid. The carrots are going to take the longest to cook, so I always start with them. With carrots, I try to get a flat edge as quickly as possible, so I'm less likely to cut myself. I'm going to add either a half of a medium onion or a small onion. I don't want it to be too much onion in there. That's not the only thing I want to taste in the soup. As this carrot and onion sautés in the ham renderings, they're going to really sweeten up. Just the celery and my kale. I chop the stems fairly thin. I don't want this last little bit in there. So even though this soup is going to be ready in just about 30 minutes from start to finish, we don't want to sacrifice flavor. So sauteing the ham, rendering the fat, adding our vegetables, and letting them get a little color all contributes to a full flavored soup in the end. I'm going to go ahead and add my kale. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. This is definitely to your taste. I would say it's probably half a teaspoon of kosher salt and a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. Colors are so pretty. I put in my cannellini beans. And I have just about a quart of chicken broth. And most of the heavy lifting is done on this soup. Now we're going to let it cook. The soup's been simmering for just about 15 minutes. It smells delicious. I'm going to fish out a carrot. And I'm going to just poke it with a fork. The carrot's tender, but not quite like I'd like it. So we're going to go just a few more minutes. Okay, that should be good. I'll turn this off. I'm going to taste the broth just to see if it needs any more seasoning. The broth has a lot of flavor. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of Parmesan cheese that's been grated over top the soup, and that's going to add a salty flavor too. So if you over salt before you add your cheese, then you're not probably going to be very pleased. I'm a big fan of black pepper, less so of salt. So we're going to dip up a little bit of this. I used a dinosaur kale, but you can use any kale you have. From start to finish, if you have all of your ingredients ready, I'd say you could have this soup on the table in just about 30 to 35 minutes. I like the way that the Parmesan adds a nice silkiness to the broth. The kale has a little bit of bitterness. The beans are a little bit creamy. The vegetables add a really nice layer of sweetness almost. It's so simple, but yet so flavorful. I'm always amazed by that. So do your research and find a local farmer. Buy a really good high quality meats to add to your soup, and you won't regret it, I promise. Delicious.